and welcome back. You're going to need an arm's length of sewing thread. This is not embroidery thread or thick thread, and your sewing needle. And you are going to begin sewing with the back stitch along your sewing line, not your cutting line. Your cutting line is so that you have a seam allowance. Your first stitch goes down and up through the fabric. You may leave a tail. I usually leave about a 3-inch tail, and then you can go back halfway for your back stitch. This is what is called a locking stitch. Every stitch essentially creates a knot, so it is unnecessary to create a knot. Down and up. I'm skipping, when I go down and up, I skip my stitch, and then allowing me to go back for my back stitch. Down and up. This is the stitch that you're going to use for all of your garments. Down and up. Notice how my thumb, my opposing thumb, is steadying the fabric each stitch so that my stitch goes in the correct place. Both of our hands are often working during handwork, even though my dominant hand is stitching, my opposing hand is really working just as hard. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this seam. I'm going to finish the seam all the way to here. Okay, so I've stitched up my sides, and I'm going to finish stitching up until the end of the arm. And I want to remind you that this is what we call wrong side out. The front side of the garment is actually inside out right now. And so what we're going to do, we're going to stitch up into the end. And do our last stitch. And we're going to create a little divot here. What do I mean by a divot? A divot is a small rectangular shape that's going to make folding this fabric easier because we're going to fold the seam. Be careful not to cut your stitches. We pull our little divot out. You can leave, if you have enough thread, you can leave your thread on your needle. You can leave it threaded so we can continue. And you're going to fold this seam, this particular seam, all the way around the arm. And this is exactly what you would do for a garment that you would wear also, not just sculpture clothing, or doll clothing. It is exactly what you would do if you were making a shirt that you would wear. And if the fabric is sort of rolling away from you, you can do what is called a finger press. So you press down, and essentially you're ironing your fabric with the warmth of your fingers. And now we're going to do a running stitch around the top. Running stitches down and up. These are small, even stitches down and up. Down and up. And you're going to continue this all the way around the top of your sleeve. When you have done the running stitch all the way around your sleeve, this is where you are going to have a finishing stitch, and this is where you stitch once and through the back, twice, down and up, and 3 times to finish your work so that it is nice and tidy. Then you can trim your, I weave in my ends, one underneath my stitches once, twice, and 3 times, and snip my end, and you will repeat stitching up the side and around the cuff on your other side. And I'm going to give you a little preview of what this is going to look like when you fold it right side out. And you can go ahead and fix all your seams and press your garment. And I can't wait to see. It's going to look great.